We literally just watched it like 2 seconds ago. It just ended, and this is our
It's a good movie.
very first
Yeah.
impression review.
I mean, I'd say I'd watch it just as much as I'd watch any of the other Bill and Ted's. Personally, that's my first reaction, I guess you could say.
I feel like these type of movies are really hard to judge because knowing a movie like Bill and Ted, the first two movies weren't masterpieces.
No.
They're stupid, fun movies, and that's what kind of... I guess the tone was very similar to the other two, which is what I expected. So it's hard to say that, oh my god, this is such an amazing movie. But I did feel... I mean, I love Excellent Adventure. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Bogus, I liked it, but I never loved it. I always preferred Excellent a lot more.
I do prefer Excellent Adventure a lot more than Bogus. I think Bogus Journey does a lot more. Like
now, seeing this
satire
movie,
comedy.
and this is not a knock on this movie, but I feel like this makes me appreciate Bogus more. I think I like Bogus but more than this movie. And I wasn't like a huge fan of Bogus, but I feel like now I appreciate it more. And this movie definitely feels like definitely lower budget. It felt like kind of like fan funded.
It feels like fan service in a way.
As far as the storyline, I thought the storyline was very unique. I do like how they got almost desperate, and they were just looking for an answer without actually like wanting to do the work, or you know what I mean. It's almost like the answer just fell in their laps.
Yeah, this is one of those other things too, I guess, where you have to suspend disbelief because we're talking about Bill and Ted here. But
yeah.
I thought at the end of Bogus, they had pretty much solved everything. Like they had gone back into they said they went to the future, into the past, and it seemed like at that point when they rocked out on the stage and they did
I thought that was the
God
song.
Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Yeah.
They were pretty damn good at that point. So I don't know what. I don't know why they still. I feel like they almost kind of started over in this movie. Like they hadn't learned anything from Bogus, which seemed kind of weird.
I do have the same impression as you. I always thought that Bogus, at the end of Bogus, I thought that was the
I think
song.
Bogus kind of perfectly like ended that journey, and they became rock stars at that point. And they also they united the world because everyone was tuning in worldwide.
Yeah, but
I think but if you're gonna make a third one, this is probably the best way to do it because now instead of uniting the world in present time, you have to unite. You have to unite like the whole universe in different time periods, and they have to be a part of the song. So
yeah, I
it
thought that was
expanded
the
on
way
that.
to do it. I will say it felt kind of rushed near the end though. I felt like they're like, oh, we got to wrap this movie up because we only have so many.
Yeah, it could have used a little bit more time, I think.
Yeah. So I feel like they came to their conclusion really quick, and it was definitely something that was easily like I had foresight on it before it even was mentioned. Like as they were talking, I was like, oh, it's gonna be their daughters, not them.
Yeah, I was worried that they were going to be the ones that like wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense because now you're contradicting the past movies because in the beginning of the very first movie it shows them on the album cover doing this. Like they've always been the ones. And to have it switched, like, oh, it's the daughters the whole time they were united the world?
Well, the daughters... So Bill and Ted still sang the song, but the daughters were, like, the stage... Like, the people...
They help manage the thing.
They don't manage the band, but it's like when you go to a concert and you have the sound guy,
mm-hmm.
and the sound guy they blend the music together to make it work.
Yeah.
Or make it sound better, That's what the daughters were. They were like the stage guy or the sound guy. Bill and Ted still did the song. Yeah. They were the ones who did the song.
At that moment, it made me worried that I'm like, wait a minute, they better not.
I
better not be a twist.
In my head, I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna ruin the movie. Like the movie's so great up until this point, but
we need to play it for you.
But they were like, it's not our song, it's yours. But we're your band, right? Like, and it's like, oh, it's still Wild Stallions is the band. Like it's the band that does it, so they're the ones who play it and save everybody, but. The girls are the ones who are kind of like the director, like, hey, do this, make sure you guys are all on point. They're like the sound guy in a band. Like, that's not actually a member of the band, but they just make sure the show goes smooth,
Yeah.
So, I was like, at first I did get kind of worried, where I was like, oh, don't tell me they're going to do this shit. Like I was about to get, like, a little irritated about that, so.
Some of the stuff I really loved, the callbacks to this movie was, I got really excited when they started going back into the past and getting all the historical figures. I was hoping they would get more. I felt like they kind of cut that too soon. I wanted to have them at least get a few more historical figures for the band. I thought the choices they made, Hendrix was great, and Louis Armstrong was great, and who else did they have? Mozart.
The cave woman.
Yeah. And who was the drummer? I didn't understand that. Who was that?
It was just some random cave woman.
Like, they could have got like an actual.
They could have actually got like a famous drummer.
Yeah,
or
so I think that was a missed opportunity. And who else was there?
Some that Asian flute player.
Oh yeah, I don't recall. I know the song and I know the artist. So, but and I felt like they could have done better choices with the historical figures. And the drummer could have been somebody famous, and they could have got like a famous like pianist or.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they got Mozart, but like somebody else part in the band that they could have got. Because that's what I loved about Excellent Adventure was just how widespread the historical figures were. So I was hoping they would do more of that.
Big question for you: what do you think of Dennis?
Dennis he started out as like this just kind of stupid character, and then he just
stole the show.
Yeah, he grew as the movie went on to the point where I'm like, give me more Dennis.
I actually wanted to see more Dennis too. I like how it was like Terminator. Like I was like, oh, they're gonna do Terminator. Like they're gonna send Dennis back. You know, Dennis is an android. He's trying to kill Bill and Ted. By the way,
I liked. I liked his mannerisms and just he was very like timid and nervous.
What was his last name? I just remember. Dennis O something.
Dennis. Shit, I can't remember.
It's like I just remember like it's kind of like he short circuited and then it's almost like he didn't have a personality, you know?
Yeah.
And then when he like fucked up or when he messed up his mission, he was like, oh crap, and then he kind of remembered like he kind of became almost human, and then the fact that he goes to hell with them, and then everybody makes the joke like, why is a robot in hell?
Yeah, because it's like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. His name is Dennis Caleb McCoy.
Yeah, there we go.
And I just like how he had to let everybody know. I'm Dennis Caleb McCoy. Hi, everyone. Some fucking robots.
The performances of Bill and Ted themselves, it seemed off to me, and it just could be because they're older in the movie, but they're also the actors themselves are older.
I feel like they matured though, even as characters have matured.
But it just seemed like I don't know. I think Bill did a better job as Bill, and Keanu Reeves did okay, but he just seemed like he was just there, kind of doing them a favor.
I actually do feel that. Yeah, I actually feel like Alex Winters Bill better.
Bill felt like Bill.
Bill felt like Bill, but I feel like Keanu Reeves has actually drifted so far away from like where he first started that it's almost like It's almost like it's actually an acting challenge for him to be Ted now.
Yeah, he was. I think he was trying to really. He was trying to. It was like him doing an impersonation of his old character instead of being
him. Yeah, like because you could tell like if you watch old interviews with them when they were like first doing Bill and Ted, like they talk almost like how Bill and Ted, like not obviously not as certain, but they definitely feel like that's them.
They have kind of the same kind of mannerisms and like Keanu Reeves in this just seemed very tired.
I feel like he didn't have his mannerisms. The daughter actually did a better impersonation.
I thought the same way. I thought the daughters actually played Bill and Ted more like Bill and Ted rather than Bill and Ted themselves.
No, I agree.
And the daughter of Ted was kind of like, she did that.
She did the head bob.
The head bob and the hands, kind of like this.
He always looks down and then he looks up and he goes,
oh
it's like the white, okay, like that. You know, the mannerism's easy if you've seen it, but. I felt like she actually was doing the mannerism better than Keanu Reeves. And there were some times where I was like, oh, like, he's doing the Ted, but it wasn't 100% of the time.
He snuck it in, like, every so often, but
he would do, like, that.
It felt like a different Ted.
Whenever he would use his hands, like, he would do stuff like that. That helped. I think the mannerisms are actually what makes him Ted. Like,
yeah.
There were times where he wasn't, like, he's very animated when he's Ted.
Well, and the perfect example of that is the when they inhabit the bodies of the cops in Bogus, and they're doing the mannerisms.
I totally believe you, dude.
That's how you do Bill and Ted. And even then, back then, different actors were able to play Bill and Ted better than Ted in this movie. And not even just the mannerisms and the way they sounded and the way they reacted in some of the scenarios, but I felt like even just as simple as the way they dressed.
Correct.
Like Bill even looked more like he had a Wild Stallion shirt on. He had the little shirt around
Ted
his waist.
still had his suit on. You know?
Ted had like a dress shirt on and slack. Like it didn't seem like
the meeting or the wedding.
Well, right, but I just felt like it still didn't. I guess that also just kind of didn't feel right for the character.
I feel like the Ted daughter actually did a better job than the Bill daughter, but Bill did better job than Ted. Yeah, it was like the opposite because the Bill daughter, I didn't believe that she was like.
She was okay, but
she didn't have any mannerisms. She didn't seem like
the Ted daughter acted.
The Ted daughter was straight up young Ted. Like I was like, holy shit, that's like Keanu Reeves from 1989. Like, that's Ted.
I did enjoy seeing the various versions of Bill and Ted. Like seeing the prison Bill and Ted, which I thought were hilarious.
Yeah.
I liked the old Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And then like the 2 year in the future Bill and Ted.
Where they're at the little
They're at the mansion.
Oh, that one's funny too.
Yeah.
Like how they check.
Oh, and then there's the one that they're playing at the
little shop or whatever.
Yeah.
The little
diner or bar or something. Yeah.
I like how Dave Grohl's in it. They check some Dave Grohl song. What are you doing in my house? I thought that was funny. I will say this: they needed more air guitar in this movie.
Yes, they were
like
lacking that.
3 or 4 air guitars, and that was it.
That and they did air guitars.
That's actually probably what made Ted seem off because they weren't fucking air guitaring. Like, where's the air guitar?
There was not a whole lot of like or excellent or there was like hardly any of that.
Yeah,
that just felt really off.
I think that's actually probably why everything felt a little off because you're so used to seeing them say stuff like, yeah, and like get pumped, you know?
No way.
Or bogus, or.
I don't even think they said bogus once. They didn't say bogus.
They didn't say bogus, but I mean those words are they're out of it.
Right, but it's still that's Bill and Ted. The second movie was named Bogus Journey.
They should have said like excellent or something like that, and then did the guitar like they do because they do that in both other movies, you know. But they didn't say bogus. They didn't say excellent. They didn't. They did like 3 air guitars, or whoa, you know, where they did the whoa, and then like something happens, you know. Like I felt that's probably what it would have saved the characters, made them feel more authentic, you know. So.
How about how'd you feel about Missy? She's up to her old antics again.
Well, speaking of Missy, I do like that they had a lot of the original
cast members,
actors come back. Obviously, sadly, George Carlin, they had a little brief cameo in there, which was kind of cool. They snuck him in there.
Yeah, it was cool.
Using past footage, and then it cut away, and it sounded like probably somebody was impersonating George Carlin because there was additional dialogue that wasn't part of the first movie, but he was like, this is a phone booth that we use to travel through time, and and that was an excellent adventure. So I thought that was cool. They added that in there, and he was in there for a brief moment. So at least give Rufus a little shout out. But I like that they had most of the original actors, except for Deacon. He was recast, but
obviously,
I don't think he's even acting anymore. I think he was in like 2 movies, and then he stopped acting. So I was fine with that being recast. But I'm glad they brought Ted's dad back. Yeah. They didn't have Bill's dad. I was hoping to see Bill's dad. Again, I don't know if he's still around. Still acting.
Was Bill's dad even in Bogus Journey? I don't remember.
He was, yeah.
Really?
Remember he was sad when Missy gets with Ted's dad.
I can't believe Missy divorced my dad, married yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can be your own stepdad.
I like how they continue that joke in this one.
Yeah.
Which makes my dad his own son.
I thought that was really fucking funny.
It makes me my own uncle, or my own step uncle, and it makes my dad his own son.
Yeah, I like seeing all of them reunited again after so long and getting all the his dad. They all look just a lot older, which obviously makes sense because the
movie's aged. The last one was in 91.
91. Bogus.
Dude, it's been 29 years since Bogus Journey was made.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Like, we're honestly kind of lucky that we got a Bill and Ted 3 anyways. I mean, we didn't really need one, but I mean...
Clearly. I feel like overall after watching this, it was completely unnecessary sequel. I still liked it. It was still fun.
It was still a good movie.
But completely unnecessary.
But yeah, it wasn't needed or anything. But it's cool. I like when actors, like, can do fan service like that. I mean, that's cool that they are like, hey, let's make a movie for the fans, you know, and just, you know, a little nostalgia. honestly, with the way 2020 is going right now, we kind of need a little bit of something, and this is like it's a nice.
We need it. We need Bill and Ted to unite the world right now.
I feel like after watching this, I better walk outside and like the world better be fixed because they played the song. You know.
Yeah, because I think when I was driving here, I saw George Washington on the freeway.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you know, I remember I was in the store and I saw Babe Ruth just walking around.
Yeah, he was like, "What's up?"
He's like, "I'm the Great Bambino." All right, so final rating, I will say 5 stars. I give it 3.9. My recommendation is yes.
Just give it a 4.
Fuck it, I'll give it a 4. Yeah, it's a 4.
3.9.
I feel like it should be a 4, but I feel like I'm reaching.
Overall, for me, I probably would do a probably 3 out of 5. If you're a fan of the first 2, check this one out. It's definitely it's made for the fans only.
So final rating basically averages out to a 3.5 out of 5.
I would have gave it a 5 if they would have brought in Genghis Khan.
I would have gave it a 5 if they would have brought back Billy Kid.
Billy Kid, yeah. And Abe Lincoln.
Billy, you are dealing with the complexities of time travel with the greatest of ease.
Excellent.